Welcome to my channel. My name is Harcharan Singh, and today we'll be learning the 10 formulas that make you an Excel expert. These formulas have been selected by my 15 years of experience and are most widely used in day-to-day functioning. So let's get started. So the first function in the list is the sum function, which is very commonly used. So it gives, here we have a description what exactly this function does. So this function creates a total from a list of numbers. It can either be used horizontally or vertically or with single cells or multiple ranges. So we'll apply it and see how it works. So I'll type in equal to sum bracket. And then if you want to apply it horizontally, we'll select the range, close the bracket and hit enter. That's how you do it horizontally. So vertically, you can do the same thing, equal to sum bracket, select this range, bracket close, enter. We can even use single cells separated by a comma. So we'll do a sum bracket, this cell, comma, this cell, comma, this cell, enter. Similarly, we can do it for multiple ranges as well. So equal to sum, select the first range, comma, second range, bracket close, enter. That's how you do it. The second function in the list is the VLOOKUP function. So it is also a very widely used formula, and it fetches the values on the right side of the column that you're looking for, and where the row and the column meets, it gives us the value. So I'll apply the VLOOKUP formula here. So we have a data set wherein we have names of people and we have their department, month, date and sales done by them. So we need to fetch up the department for these people and the sales value. So I'll type in the function. It says v equal to VLOOKUP. If you say lookup value is what you want to look up. I want to look up Joe, comma, and then table array is where you want to look at for. So I want to look at here. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma, column index number. Column index number for department will be second because the first is the one where the range starts. So I'll press 2, comma, 0. 0 is for exact match as mentioned here. Press enter. I'll copy and drag this formula below. You see we have got the departments for these people. Now we'll get the sales values. So similarly, I'll apply the VLOOKUP function equal to VLOOKUP. The lookup value is Joe, comma, where do I want to look up? I want to look it up here. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma, the column index number for sales. So 1 is name, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So I'll enter 5, comma, 0, bracket close, enter. I'll copy this and drag it. So now we have the department and sales for these people. That's how you apply the VLOOKUP formula. I've covered it in detail in one of my videos on VLOOKUP. So I'll put the link in the description. Please go and watch the full video. So the third function in the list is the SUMIF function. So what this formula does is it adds the value of the item matching the criteria that you have given. You can use multiple criterias and do a sum according to those criterias. So first condition is there's a data set. We need to get the total cost of breaks bought. So we have item and the cost, so we need to fetch the details for breaks. So I'll enter equal to SUMIFS. The first thing it says is sum range. Sum range will be always the number range where you want to do the sum for. So here it is the cost. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma. Second is the criteria range. So we want to do the total for the breaks.
So we'll select this range as the criteria range. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma, we want to look for breaks, so we'll enter a free text here inside the quotes, BRAKES, bracket close, enter. So the total cost for break spot is 160. If you want to check 80 and 80, the total here is 160. That's how it arrives. So the second is the cost for all the tire spot, so equal to SUMIFS. Again, the sum range will be the number range, the total that we want to do. Press F4 to lock it, comma, criteria range 1. Again, the criteria range will be the same because we need to find the value for tires here. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma, within quotes, TYRES, bracket close, enter. It gives us the total cost for tires, which is this, this, and this. And similarly, we need the total servicing cost above 100. Okay, so SUMIFS, sum range will be again same. Press F4 to lock it, comma, the first criteria range is service, so we'll select this column, press F4 to lock it, comma, within quotes, service, quotes closed, comma, we want to enter another condition which says cost of the value should be greater than 100. So again, I'll select the cost here because this is the second condition that we want to put in. Press F4 to lock it, comma, criteria is greater than equal to 100, and that will also be in quotes, enter. So there's 450. So if we see service cost, these two are above 100, so it totals up to 450, and this does not, this isn't greater than 100, so it is 25, it is excluded. So total of the time typed in the value cell. Okay, so we want to apply a formula for service, but we want to pick the value from here, from the cell, not by typing in manually. So equal to SUMIFS, sum range, F4 to lock it, comma, criteria range 1. So the criteria range will be again this, F4 to lock it, comma, we want to pick it from the cell which is this one, E18, bracket close, enter. Service, total cost for service is 475, which is this, this, and this. That's how you apply the SUMIF formula. So the fourth function in the list is the AVERAGEIFS function. It's very similar to the SUMIFS function that we have used. So we have these conditions, we need to fulfill it from the data above as we did for SUMIFS. So we'll apply the AVERAGEIFS. First is the average range. Like in SUMIF, we have selected the sum range. Here we have the average range. It'll be numbers that you want the average of. I'll press F4 to lock it, comma, criteria range 1. So we need to find out breaks, average for the breaks. So I'll select this, press F4 to lock it, again, comma, I want to look for breaks, so in apostrophe breaks, apostrophe close, bracket close, enter. So this is the average for the breaks. Then we need to do the average for tire spot. So again, AVERAGEIFS. First condition, it says average range. This is the average range. F4 to lock it, comma, average range of criteria range 1. So criteria range again would be this. Press F4 to lock it, comma, we need to find tires this time, so TYRES, bracket close, enter. So this is the average for the tire spot. So we need the average items per service cost, which is greater than 100. So we have two conditions here, service and greater than 100. So we'll do a AVERAGEIFS. Average range would be the same, F4 to lock it, comma, criteria range 1 will be this, as we need to find service, F4 to lock it, and apostrophe service, comma, need to find the values above 100 here. So we'll again select this range, which is the criteria range 2, F4 to lock it, comma, within quotes, greater than equal to 100, close the quotes, close the bracket, enter to 25. Similarly, if you want to pick a value from the cell instead of typing it manually, how can we do that? AVERAGEIFS. So average range is the cost column, comma, need to find the value for service and select this, F4, comma, service is in this cell, select the cell, bracket close, enter. So that's how you apply the AVERAGEIFS formula. It's very similar to the SUMIFS one. The fifth function that we'll be learning today is the COUNTIFS. So what this formula does, the function counts the value according to the conditions that you give. So we'll again apply this formula on the same data set. So we need to count all the breaks bought. So equal to COUNTIFS. Here you need not to select the range where there are numbers specifically, because you're just counting it, so you can count it from text also. So first is the criteria range, so we need to find the breaks. So we'll just select this range, press F4 to lock it, comma, criteria 1 is breaks. We want to find how many breaks bought. So there were 2 people who bought breaks. Okay, then we have need to find the count for tires. So COUNTIFS. The criteria range again will be the items, F4 to lock it, comma, within quotes, tires, bracket close, enter. So there are 3 people who bought tires, 1, 2 and 3, and we need to count the items of service cost above 100. So again, COUNTIFS. First, service, we need to find service here, so we'll select this range, comma, criteria is service, and the second condition is it should be above 100, the cost of that product. So second criteria range will be the value, F4 to lock it, comma, within quotes, greater than equal to 100, close the quotes, bracket close, enter. So there are 2 service costs which were more than 100, these 2. Similarly, we can use a cell for referencing instead of manually typing it. So COUNTIFS, criteria range will be, so we need to find, sorry, service, okay, COUNTIFS, criteria range here, F4 to lock it, comma, criteria is in the cell, we'll select it, bracket close, enter. So there are 3 items for service, 1, 2 and 3. So that's how you apply the COUNTIF form.
So the 6th function in a list is a SUMPRODUCT function. So this function helps us to multiply 2 columns and give us the total value of the sum product of the 2 columns. So
So here we have the items sold and the price for these items. We want to see how much was sales value for these products in total. So we will enter the formula SUMPRODUCT. It says array 1, array 2. So first array, comma, array 2, bracket close, enter. So instead of doing it manually like this and doing a total of this, you can simply apply this formula SUMPRODUCT and get the value. So it requires at least 2 columns of values. So the 7th function in our list is a subtotal function. It is a really useful formula if you use filters in your data. So if we have, I'll give you an example. If we want to see the total for connectivity and sales here, just for the filtered cells, how we can do that using a formula is subtotal equal to subtotal. So you see a number of activities which you can do using this function. Average, you can find a count, count a, max, minimum. So we need to find the sum, so we need to write 9 because 9 is the function for sum, comma. You'll select the range here, bracket close, enter. So it will only give the total for this visible cells, so it will not total the cells which are not visible here. Similarly, if you want to do the average for this, so you can enter 1 for the average, comma, select this, bracket close, enter. It will give you the average. If you want to count how many cells are these, assuming you have a large data set, equal to subtotal. 2 is for count. Either we can go onto that drop down and press tab, it will automatically select 2 here, comma, select these cells, bracket close, enter. These are 5 because it's counting the heading as well. No, it's not counting the heading, it's just the numbers which is counting, right? Equal to subtotal for max 4, comma, select the cells, bracket close, enter. The maximum value was 1260 here, you can see, and the minimum subtotal for minimum it's 5, comma, select the range, bracket close, enter. Minimum is 3,60,000. So this is a very useful function if you use filters. That's how you apply the subtotal function. So the 8th function in our list is the DATEDIF function. The DATEDIF function is no longer in the new Excel dictionary. It was there in the old one. So if you type in, so the basic function, the basic use of this function is to calculate the difference between 2 dates. You can either get the output in days, months, years and all. There are different parameters that you can set to get the values. So I'll tell you, equal to dated. You will not find the function here, so you need to type it manually. DATEDIF, bracket open. You will not find the help the properties of this function, the syntax. So you need to remember this carefully. So first we need to select the starting date, comma, then the ending date, comma. If you want the values in days, you need to mention within quotes D for days. I'll press enter. It will give me the difference for within these dates in days. Second is if you want in months, you need to mention M in between. So DATEDIF the opening, closing, comma, M, bracket close, enter, 124 months. If you want in years, you need to type in Y, so equal to DATEDIF, bracket, opening value, closing value, and Y for difference in years. Similarly, if you want year, days, year, months, month date, you can also do that. So equal to DATEDIF, opening, comma, closing, comma, in year and days, enter. If I want an year and months, opening, comma, closing, comma, within quotes, YM for year and months, and for month and days, equal to DATEDIF, opening date, closing date, within quotes, MD for month and days. So that's how you use the DATEDIF formula. So our ninth formula in the list is the if function. So if function is used if you want to meet, if you want a condition, if it turns true, you want something to be done. If it turns false, you want another thing to be done. So it's a conditional test formula. So here we have name of people and their sales target. So we need to find out if they have achieved their sales target or not. So I'll enter equal to if logical test. Logical test will be if the sales is greater than target. So if C4 is greater than equal to D4, then we will say achieved. So it says if value if true. If it's true, we'll enter within quotes AC achieved, comma, if what if it turns false, if it's not true, so not achieved, bracket close, enter. I'll again enter this formula just to make you understand better. So if first is a logical test. Logical test is if the sales is greater than target, then we need to mention the target has been achieved, otherwise it has not been achieved. So sales is greater than equal to target, comma, within quotes achieved if the value is true. If the value is false, then not achieved. Similarly, I'll drag this formula here. So the second condition here is we need to give them a commission on their sales. So if they have met the target, we need to give them 10% commission. If they have not met the target, we need to give them 5% commission. So how can we do that? Using the if function. If equal to if sales is greater than target, then we need to give them 5% of the sales value. So sales into 10% if the targets are met, comma, if the targets are not met, we need to give them 5% of sales. So sales into 5%, bracket close, enter. So here the sales have not been met, so we have given 5% commission to Alan. Similarly, I'll apply this formula again. If the sales for Bob is greater than the target, comma, if it's true, I need to give Bob 10% of his sales. So sales into 10%. Otherwise, if it's false, sales into 5%. Bracket close, enter. So if you see here, he has met his target, so he's been given 10% on his sales. Similarly for Carol, if sales is greater than target, then sales into 10% or sales into 5% if it's false. So that's how you apply the if formula. So the 10th function that we will be learning today is the AND function. What if you have two conditions that you want to check instead of one as we did in if? So for that we will be using AND function. So it you can enter multiple conditions here, more than one. You need to use AND function. So I'll tell you how. So there are two numbers. We need to check if both of these numbers are above 100 or not. So AND first logical test is if this number is greater than equal to 100, comma, second logic is if this number is greater than equal to 100. Bracket close, enter. If it's true, it will give you a true. I'll enter this formula again. And logic 1. The first logic is if this cell is greater than equal to 100, comma, second logic is if this cell is greater than equal to 100. If both these conditions are true, it will give you a true, otherwise it will give you a false. Similarly, this is false here because the second value is not greater than 100. Similarly for the third one, it will give you a false because this value is not greater than 100. We have a bonus for you. If you want to apply a if function with two conditions, how you can do that? So you need to combine if and AND function together. So I'll do it here. If both these values are greater than 100, then the person will pass, otherwise he'll fail. So if, and then I'll enter AND function here. If this value is greater than equal to 100, comma, and this value is also greater than equal to 100, bracket closed because AND function is closed, comma, if this is true, if this condition is true, I want to make them pass, comma, what if it's false? If it's false, I want to write fail. Enter. You see both these values are above 100, it's giving me a pass. Similarly, I'll apply this formula again. If and this value is greater than equal to 100, comma, and this value is also greater than equal to 100, bracket close, we'll close the AND function, comma, then it's a pass, otherwise if it's not true it will be a fail. Bracket close, enter. This is fail because both these values are less than 100. So that's it for today. If you find this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.